बहुत गंभीर हालत है। उधर भी जो बॉडी मिला है उसको 40 बॉडी हम बोल रहा है, लेकिन पार्ट टू पार्ट आके मिला है।
Wayanad, Kerala is weeping. It's catastrophic. The aftermath has ravaged an entire district. It's going to be another long night, ladies and gentlemen, another long night as rescue teams fight against time. Not just time, nature, and making their way through dismembered bodies. It's heartbreaking to even be saying this, but this is the reality. Over 160 people have died. It's a landslide that has not been unprecedented. Yes, it has not been unprecedented. The aftermath, though, may well be. And that'll be clearer in days to come. The eerie similarities between 2018, 2019 and 2024, including the political back and forth, blame game and lack of accountability between centre and the state, just adds to the numbness. But first, my colleagues Deepak Bopanna and Pinky with their team have sent us these reports from Wayanad Ground Zero. Important to understand what we are battling against.
युद्ध स्तर पर ये पूरा रेस्क्यू वर्क जो है वो किया जा रहा है और जैसे कि हम लगातार दिखा रहे हैं कि एक टेम्पररी ब्रिज जो है बनाया गया है क्योंकि भूस्खलन के कारण जो है पूरी तरह से सड़कें टूट चुकी है और काफी ज्यादा डैमेज देखा गया। उसके बाद इस तरह का ये पुल जो है बनाया गया है जो काफी आप देख सकते हैं कि इसी से कि पानी का जो प्रवाह है वो कितना तेज है और किस हद तक ये रिस्की हो सकता है क्योंकि अब ये जो पानी है अब ये पुल के ऊपर भी ये पानी जो है आ चुका है। फिलहाल जो मुंडकई है और ये जो चूरमला है इसके बीच में जो है ये रास्ता टूट चुका है जिसके कारण आर्मी ने जो है ये ब्रिज को तैयार किया है। बाकी रेस्क्यू टीम्स के साथ मिलकर आपको बता दें कि एनडीआरएफ, एसडीआरएफ समेत इंडियन आर्मी, नेवल टीम्स, एयरफोर्स के चॉपर्स लगातार इस पूरे रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में लगे हुए हैं।
सर, आप किधर से आए हैं?
नीलमपुर से।
नीलमपुर कितना दूर है सर? यहाँ
83 किलोमीटर फ्रॉम हियर।
तो विद आवर बॉडीज दैट वर फाउंड 80 किलोमीटर्स फ्रॉम दिस लोकेशन।
नीलमपुर से बॉडी मिला है, नियर अबाउट 40 बॉडी मिला है।
ओके, आपके एम्बुलेंस में?
एम्बुलेंस में एक ही है, एक ही बॉडी है।
तो कितने एम्बुलेंस आए हैं टोटल?
अभी 40 एम्बुलेंस उधर रेडी है।
ओके,
10 बाई 10
शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं। तो अभी 10 आए हैं इधर।
10 आए हैं।
तो वहाँ कितना दूर होगा यहाँ से वहाँ तक? बाय रोड तो 80 किलोमीटर है, लेकिन लैंडस्लाइड लोकेशन से डायरेक्टली पाथ कितना किलोमीटर अप्रोक्सीमेटली हो सकता है?
डायरेक्टली उससे ज्यादा हो सकता है,
ज्यादा भी हो सकता है।
नदी
तो उससे दिखाई देता कि इम्पैक्ट क्या था वो लैंडस्लाइड का?
वो लैंडस्लाइड बहुत गंभीर हालत है। उधर भी जो बॉडी मिला है उसको 40 बॉडी हम बोल रहा है, लेकिन पार्ट टू पार्ट आके मिला है। नियर अबाउट 65 पार्ट है। बॉडी जिसको बोलता है, जो फेस जिसको मिला है
उसको बॉडी काउंट करके आप अराउंड 40
बोल रहा है। बाकी पूरा पार्ट है, तो पार्ट टू पार्ट आके किसी का हाथ, किसी का सिर ऐसे आया हुआ है। बहुत गंभीर हालत है।
My colleagues Deepak Bopanna with Pradeep Kumar and Pinky with Thompson Jacob have sent us these reports. Our focus continues to be on Wayanad. Remember, there have been huge political back and forths between the central government and the state amid disasters, whether it be 2018, 19 and now on warning systems. Tonight, we will be looking into this. For us, it isn't about a political blame game. It's the sorrow, the anguish of repeated losses, deaths, and an attempt to understand if our systems are failing us or our governments are failing us. It may not be as black and white as that, but we also cannot afford another. We cannot afford another July 30th. Home Minister today said in Parliament that the centre had given an early warning to the Kerala government about heavy rainfall and landslides on July 23rd. The Home Minister said that the warnings continued for another 3 days, and on July 26th, it was told that there would be a heavy downpour of more than 20 centimeters, which can trigger landslides and slush, risking people's safety. Soon after that, Pinarayi Vijayan, Chief Minister of Kerala, countered this, saying centre's version was half-truth. There was an orange alert for the areas that have been struck by the disaster. The alert was for rainfall between 115 millimeter to 204 millimeter. But how much did it rain? Chief Minister said for the first 24 hours, it rained 200 millimeters. Next 24 hours, it rained 272 millimeters. Within 48 hours, it rained for almost 578 millimeters, far more than the alert that was issued. One thing important to understand, there was no red alert for that area. It was only after the disaster struck that red alert was issued at 6 a.m. in the morning after the landslide. This is what Chief Minister has claimed. Now, we have gone through public records of the IMD. Here's what we can find. July 27th, 3 p.m., there was an orange warning. In fact, let's just go through the data right now and you'll have a look at this. July 27th, there was an orange warning for July 28th. Kozhikode, Kannur, Kasaragod. And then you have a yellow warning for July 28th. That's Wayanad, Ernakulam, Thrissur, Palakkad, Malappuram, none for. Wayanad had a yellow alert for 28th. Then, on July 28th, there was another alert released, orange alert, for Kozhikode, Kannur, and Kasaragod. There was a yellow warning issued for Wayanad, Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur, and Kasaragod. This was released on July 28th for July 29th. And on 29th, there was an orange warning that was issued for Malappuram, Kozhikode, Wayanad, Kannur, and Kasaragod. Wayanad had a yellow alert issued for 30th, the day the landslide happened early in the morning, along with other districts. And later at 30th, on 30th of July, it was after 6 o'clock, the 6 o'clock alert, that there was a red alert issued for Wayanad along with other states as well. So this is what we've been able to find out from IMD. This is what has been followed. This is what the Chief Minister has claimed. Now the question really is, has there been any other communication between the centre as well as the states that we do not know of? But the IMD's official releases that alert not only on a daily basis, but also a weekly alert for the 23rd, and that's on your data, that's on your screens. This is the weekly alert that's given out. You can see it's yellow and green alerts for the state. Eventually, on 29th, I think there's orange alert also that's reflected. So this is largely what we have been giving you a sense of. Now, let's look at what it did. This is, as I said, there are daily and weekly alerts for the Indian Meteorological Department that is relayed to the state. But are there any direct communications to the state that's not in public records? To discuss this and much more, we have experts in a panel with us. But first, I'm being joined by Minister M.B. Rajesh, who's also a former parliamentarian. Thank you very much, Mr. M.B. Rajesh, for joining us. Firstly, what is the situation in Wayanad right now, Mr. M.B. Rajesh? It's just so heartbreaking at this time. And okay, I can also see other panelists and I will introduce them shortly. But M.B. Rajesh, first to you, what is the situation right now in Wayanad?
It's a heartbreaking tragedy that happened in Wayanad. It is the biggest tragedy in the recent past which happened in Kerala. Now, the rescue operations are going on for the second consecutive day. Many people have been, more than 1,000 people have been evacuated. They have been saved. Now they are in hospitals. They are getting treatment. Many of them are shifted to relief camps. Around 7,000 people are in relief camps in Wayanad district. the rescue operations are going on.
Right. MB Rajesh, if I can ask you, even as we speak, are there areas in Wayanad, in the landslide affected areas, that might be cut off, that might be isolated? I'm trying to understand, are there still areas that the rescue and relief teams may not have reached? Is that a possibility?
No, at this point of time, there is no such area which is completely cut off, where the rescue workers have not been able to reach. No such area is remaining at this point of time. To one particular location which was completely cut off from the entire Wayanad. Now the army has constructed a makeshift bridge, so that area is now connected. And armies, now you can see how people are being saved from the army and various other NDRF, fire force, police. They are operating in those areas.
Mr. MB Rajesh, in the parliament today, Home Minister himself said that there were alerts which were given out to Kerala government. We have gone through IMD alerts that were out. We have not seen a red alert warning ahead of the landslide. 2-3 days ahead of that, we did not. There was an orange alert at one point, and we put that out as well. On 23rd, Amit Shah spoke about early warning system that was relayed to the state. We went through the IMD records. It was not there. 23rd did not have an orange alert. On 29th, there was again an alert issued which had orange alert but not a red alert. I'm trying to understand, MB Rajesh, besides IMD alerts, what other alerts does the state government get? Particularly, are there any other early warning systems in place that may not be through IMD but would be through other channels?
You are absolutely right. And this is what Honorable Chief Minister explained in his press conference today. I don't want to indulge in playing game. It's very unfortunate that a responsible person like Honorable Home Minister of India resorted to blame game at this hour of crisis. This is not the right time to indulge in blame game. Anyway, since he has made this statement in the parliament, let me place plain facts before you. This is not to make any allegation, just placing plain facts. So you have already placed these facts. What were the alerts we received in the 48 hours prior to this landslide? On 28th, we received yellow alert, and on 29th, it was orange alert. This happened in the early hours of 30th. And red alert was issued only in the afternoon of 30th, after this massive landslide took place. And according to IMD's alerts, the forecast was that between 28th and 30th, in 48 hours, we may get rainfall between 115 and 204 millimeters. So this was the forecast. But look at the amount of rainfall we received in this 48 hours. It was 572 millimeters. So the forecast was that you may get between 115 and 204 millimeters. And we got 572 millimeters. So there was no forecast, there was no prediction or warning of a high intensity rain of this scale. And this was precisely the reason for this landslide. Secondly, one more.
MB Rajesh, you're a minister in Kerala government. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Finish your point, please.
One more alert we received. Let me explain. One more alert we received from Geological Survey of India on 29th. According to their alert, it was green alert about landslide. Geological Survey of India's alert on landslide was green alert. Green alert is not high intensity lands. It's not about high intensity alert. So there was no red alert either on the part of Geological Survey of India or either from IMD. Neither IMD
MB Rajesh,
nor
and it's so
Geological
important that
Survey
I'm
of
speaking
India
to you, and
had
I can
given
thank
any
you. I
red
can't
alert.
thank you enough for coming on record and speaking, because mostly governments would not want to speak on record, but you're actually speaking on record. It's so important for people to have their facts right, and of course we'll have BJP also to counter what you're saying. But Mr. MB Rajesh, as a minister in the government, are you saying you had no alerts whatsoever, whether it be about orange or red, about extremely heavy rainfall or about landslides? Because we've also had the Humes Institute say that they had given an alert to the district administration. They have come on record with us and they have said they gave out exceptionally heavy rainfall and the possibility of a landslide alert to the district administration.
See, these are the alerts we have received. That Honorable CM had already explained this in his press conference. And we, on the basis of these alerts, we had evacuated people from landslide-prone areas. This tragedy which happened is not a landslide-prone area. This is the first time a landslide like this is happening in that area. This is a town adjacent to a river, and people have been living there for decades. It's a town, and people are living there for many, many years. So never such a tragedy had happened in the past, or there was no warning, there was no any situation like this. That we never imagined that a situation like this will take place in that area. But at the same time,
Okay, last question, MB Rajesh, before I bring in other panelists as well. Mr. MB Rajesh, is Churmala part of Mepari, which is part of the ecologically sensitive area and the vulnerable zones that have been mapped? Is this correct? You may say there's not been an earthquake, but is it part of vulnerable areas? Is it correct to say that?
No, this place is not landslide-prone area. This is not known as landslide-prone area. But at the same time, there's Mundakai. Mundakai is landslide-prone area, and people were evacuated on the basis of these warnings from those areas.
Okay, all right. If I can, let me just introduce my panelists. And MB Rajesh, I know I had asked you for the time initially. A request, if you can stay on with us, we'll be very grateful, because Mr. Santosh, who was supposed to join us, the MP from CPI, he has some range issues in Wayanad. We have other panelists. I'm introducing them. I'll be very grateful if you can stay on with us as well at this point. Professor Roni K. Baby, spokesperson for Congress, MG Radhakrishnan, senior journalist, V. Padmanabhan, who is a spokesperson for BJP in Kerala, as well as S. Abhilash, who is a director for Advanced Center for Atmospheric Radar Research, QSAT. May I please go to Mr. Abhilash at this point? Mr. Abhilash, what are we listening? What are we trying to... We're trying to really understand what's happening. And I understand there'll be a lot between the center and the states, but is it really a clear collapse of communication of alerts? Is it poor relaying? Is it poor interpretation? Is it all of it together? What are we supposed to make out of this? What do you make out of it as an expert?
First of all, I don't want to indulge in this controversies, which is unfortunate to happen at a moment like this. We are all facing this calamity. We all together, Kerala together is fighting this calamity, and we don't want to indulge in this type of controversy between state and the central. But otherwise, I will talk only about the science part of it. Actually,
yes, please stick to facts. Yes, please.
It is happened due to the excessive rainfall which is happening not only over the northern Kerala, over the last 2 weeks. The monsoon trough is being active all the way from northern Kerala all the way up to Gujarat coast. This is a typical active monsoon situation. So this is the time when the Shirur, the Arjun lost his life during that landslide in the Shirur. So the thing is that for the last 2 weeks, the entire Konkan belt, including northern Kerala, is receiving excessive amount of rainfall, more than almost like 50 to 70% of excess rainfall, which is received for last 2 weeks. So this is the main reason for this landslide, because if you look at the landslide which is happening over the entire Western Ghats, the main triggering 99% of this landslide happening over the Western Ghats is due to rainfall only. It is triggered by rainfall only, and that it is not just the triggering rainfall which happened on that day. It is the antecedent rainfall also contributing to a large extent to this event. Because if you look at the last 2 weeks of rainfall, it is more than 70% of the 2 weeks rainfall which is received in Ores region, and that itself is enough to make your soil more saturated. So that means the water pressure inside the soil will be more, and there is no room for more water to infiltrate to the soil. So that is situation just before this day, like 29th July. That was the situation, and then it is almost similar to a situation in 2019 which had happened in Kavalapara, Puttumala region, very close to this Mundage, almost 2-3 kilometers away from this region, where
Absolutely.
there we did a detailed understanding about this type of event which is happening over Kerala. Because in that study, what we found is that during this type of event, the cloud structure, the cloud system which is forming partly over the Southeast Arabian Sea off Kerala coast of the northern Kerala and Mangalore coast, it is developing very deep, and these deep developed clouds are being transported to the land, and when it comes to the land, it has the potential to produce very intense rainfall in a short period of time. So that means the antecedent rainfall plus this triggering rainfall for a short duration, almost like if you look at the rainfall records happened on 29th to 30th early morning, we found that most of the rain gauge stations around this region, including Wayanad, Calicut, Malappuram and Kannur region, they received more than 24 centimeters of rain. It is almost like extremely heavy type of rainfall all over this region. And this region is another fact. There is a conditioning factor for this landslide that is mostly related to the slope, topography, terrain factors, relief, and all other fixed things. But the triggering factor is rainfall. If that fixed conditioning factor is set with the soil saturation and a push like a triggering factor like this, a torrential rainfall of the category of like a mini cloudburst event. Mini cloudbursts are nothing but 2 to 5 centimeters of more rainfall if it is received consecutively in 2 hours. That is termed as mini cloudburst event. So this is a kind of event which had happened that triggered this landslide event. So this is the science part of it. So it is if you look at all over the world, the landslide prediction system, they are not foolproof system. There are no 100% accurate landslide prediction systems are not there anywhere in the world. And it is very difficult to give precise forecast of this landslide maybe 2-3 days or 2-3 days in advance. So maximum we can pinpoint that in a regional scale, we can say that, okay, based on most of this landslide prediction systems are based on the rainfall threshold. So if that threshold is exceeding, we can give a alert for a larger region. But when it comes to a localized alert system, it need lot other instruments integrated together. Then only we can give a localized alert warning or alert system. So this is what the current status nowhere in India.
So Mr. Abhilash, before I go to the other panelists, a minute to you more, Mr. Abhilash, because I'm sure viewers are very interested in what you're speaking, but a minute to you before I go to the other panelists as well. So with what happened in 2018, with what happened in 2019, you had Puthumala, parts of Puthumala completely swept away. We are hearing there's a village that's been swept away this time as well. Now, if you're saying this has eerie similarities to what happened in 2018 and 2019, since then, do we have any system in place that could have ensured this could have been averted? These deaths that is right now over 160 may well be above it by tomorrow. Could this have been averted? A minute, sir. I know it's so detailed, but I still would like to get a preliminary answer before I go to the others.
Some part of point I do agree with you, because it is almost like 5 years since we had the last large. Even before that, Oki claimed almost like 400 plus people life in our sea, close to Kerala Sea, and a lot of Kerala fishermen lost their life. From that point onwards, in 2018 flood, 19 severe landslide flood, 20 Pettimudi events, 21 critical events. So this is recurring. If you look at the GSI report, we can find that more than 3,000 plus landslide have occurred, especially in Kerala for the last 6 years. So that means that the Kerala leads the numbers in terms of landslide. So we need more research.
Okay, I think there seems to be some signal issue, sir. We'll try and get back to you. So I think there seems some signal issue. Let's just try and rectify that signal issue. I think your visuals are also frozen. V. Shri Padmanabhan, if I can come to you, sir. Thank you for your patience, but this is such a sensitive issue, has so many aspects to be discussed. You heard what the minister from Kerala said. You heard what the experts said. Between all of this, you have what the centre is saying. Where is the system failing, sir? Because there are deaths involved, and it's not unprecedented. We've had similar catastrophes. Really, as experts, we are asking you, as politicians, we are asking you, as representatives, we are asking you, where is the truth?
The system. See, this place, Mundakai, has a long history of landslides. In 1984, there was a landslide in Mundakai and 14 people lost their life. That time also the bodies were recovered from Malappuram district. So this area again had a landslide in 2020, Puttumalai. So this place is a landslide prone area. And subject to correction, I understand that this Churalmala has got a special reference in Madhav Gadgil's report. This Churalmala is just below Mundakai. So the river originating from Mundakai passes through Churalmala. So any landslide at Mundakai will definitely affect Churalmala. So there has been rain, incessant rain in Kerala for the last 1 week or 10 days. And also this year we had above average or heavy rains. So upon seeing this, a place called Mundakai should have been given special, special attention, and the district administration should have evacuated the people. Nobody was evacuated from Mundakai. What was given the instructions given to them was that they should keep away from the river, the small river which was flowing. Those living within 10 meters should go back. So there was no evacuation. So if Mundakai was given a special attention, seeing the rainfall for the past 10 days, and if people had been evacuated, the number of casualties would have gone down. As Mr. Amit Shah rightly put that in Orissa in 1999, without warning, when the cyclone came, 10,000 people lost their life. But again, 2 years ago, the same cyclone came, only one person lost his life. So Mundakai being a landslide prone area for the last 30 years, something should have been done, seeing this year's rainfall. Because after 2018 and 19, we are seeing such a rainfall in 2024. So there was a failure on the part of the district administration. So now there is no use in saying these things. But now what he has to do is that...
A minute, sir. Let me just give a minute to Mr. M.B. Rajesh. M.B. Rajesh, do you see sense in what Mr. Shri Padmanabhan is saying? Is there a bridge that needs to be... Is there a gap that needs to be bridged?
I have already said that this is not the right time to indulge in blame game. Unfortunately, the Honorable Home Minister...
No, we are not in blame game, sir.
See, his party colleague are very much keen on indulging in blame game. So I have already placed facts before you. There were no alerts, red alerts. Yes, of course there were alerts, but it was not of high intensity rain. It was not of high intensity landslide. Based on these alerts, government had evacuated people from this landslide prone areas. But this was not expected to be a landslide
Okay.
prone area. This Tural Mala was not expected to be a landslide prone area. As I already said, this is a township. This is a small township in which people have been living for decades.
Okay, all right. MG Radhakrishnan, if I can get you in. You were there, of course, in 2018. You were there in 2019. You were there in 2024. I'm sure all of our hearts are bleeding. All the panelists here, anybody who's related to Kerala, anybody who's part of India is seeing all of this unfold in horror. But I want you to possibly dwell few minutes. You know, the media in Kerala is extremely active in covering every alert, because this is particularly in the monsoon season, this June, July, August, September, October. We've seen so many disasters unfold over the last 5 years in Kerala that any alert is watched very carefully. How was this reported? We're trying to understand, was there anything that was missed that was in public domain? Because we obviously don't know if there was any communication between the two governments, between the administration. There's always secrecy between administrations anyway. So we're just trying to understand, is there something that was amiss? Or is it just that we've not learned enough and our systems are just not in place?
Well, Sneha, the debate or the kind of arguments over what has happened right now, whether 2 days before the central agencies gave it, alert, or whether the state government responded to it rightly or not rightly, is actually is not a major issue. What has been, in display is a complete wanton disregard for the kind of serious warnings, serious alerts that were being given about what has been happening in the entire Western Ghats in general and in Wayanad in particular for the last 10 or 15 years. From 2011, as we know, Professor Gadgil's report came, which actually, sent the alarm bell, as it were, because, he said that 70% of Western Ghats was under threat. So he gave the entire, the sordid story about what's happening in Western Ghats and in Wayanad also, because as we discussed yesterday also, these have been going on. The wanton, construction activities, the completely unsustainable tourism, the mining, quarrying, all kinds of things. The roads have gone up by how much percent, 25% or something. And there was extreme population density, extreme levels of urbanization, water pollution, soil erosion. All these have been right before our eyes. But what did we do? Neither the authorities, nor the political parties, or the media, or the society, everyone is culpable. But I would say the governments most accountable for what has happened. Not just this government, but right from the Gadgil report came, both the UDF government and the LDF government attempted to completely run down Gadgil and to bury or to dilute what he actually recommended. So I think there is no point in this debating over what happened right now. But you take the last 10 years or 12 years, this has been going on. And the strangest thing is that Kerala has a rebuild Kerala plan, which has been formulated after the floods, ravaged the state like anything. So even as part of this rebuild plan, there are certain projects which are absolutely disastrous. For instance, right through this region, the epicenter of the landslide that happened, right through this region, a tunnel, an 8-kilometer tunnel, twin tunnel road has been planned. Just imagine what would be the kind of impact that it is going to have in the entire ecologically fragile region. So I think this debate, these arguments over what happened yesterday and today is immaterial. What has happened, what is to be seen is that for the last one full decade, the entire state or the authorities, be it the state government or the central government or the political parties or the religious organization, including the media. Media always, as you and I know, media goes there once it happens. and just forgets until the next disaster happens. So what happens is, what is to be noted is that the governments which are responsible to do this, they have failed us miserably, and they continue to do it even today.
Professor Ronnie K. Baby, do you want to respond to what MG Radhakrishnan said? Because, I mean, I understand in Kerala you are the principal opposition right now, but Wayanad is also your stronghold. And there are also allegations against the Congress for batting to populism than possibly being more understanding and wise and discerning to the challenges that were before the state. But does Congress realize it's time for course correct?
I do agree with what Sri M.G. Radhakrishnan has said about Gadgil report and the need of the hour to discuss the suggestions and recommendations given by Madhav Gadgil. Because of the Kerala is mostly covered by these Western Ghats, and the recent incidents, this is not the first incident in the recent time that such a heavy landslide has happened. I disagree with the Honorable Minister. He says that this area is not a landslide prone area. In 2020, just 2 kilometers away from this Mundakai, the Puthumalai, where 17 people were died and still 5 bodies has not been recovered. And such a landslide was happened just 4 years back. The saddest part is that we are not learning lessons from the mistakes which we have doing. I do agree with the Honorable Minister that this is not the right time to speak about politics, but the fact remains open before us. What Honorable Home Minister said that they have given warning on July 20th. But today, during his press conference, Honorable Chief Minister says that the Kerala government has not received any such warning. I just want to recollect our memories regarding this Oki tycoon, which was happened in 2018. The same kind of warning was issued by IMD in that time also. But the state government has not given any attention to such a warning, and more than 100 fishermen were died in that Oki tycoon. That coastal area was very close to our capital city, Trivandrum. There's not any faraway place in Wayanad or Politcal or Malappuram. The warning was issued to a place or to a coastal area which is so close to Trivandrum, and the state government has not given any attention to such a warning. I really surprising what our Honorable Minister is saying. He says that they got a warning that kind of raining between 150 centimeter and 200 centimeter raining would have been happening in that area. Any raining
Millimeters.
more than 20 centimeters,
Millimeters.
any raining more than 20 millimeters is very hazardous and very dangerous. It is known to, every ordinary people in Kerala that any raining more than 20 millimeters is very dangerous. But the minister testifying that...
so if it's centimeters, it's 20. If it's millimeters, it's between 150 to 204. I know this is a little confusing, but just technically correcting you.
Yes. Even the red alert has been issued only after the this landslide. By 6 a.m. on 30th morning, the all kinds of tragedy was happened in late midnight by 1:30 a.m. and the second landslide was by 4 a.m. And the all kind of discussion should be to give aware that any kind of such a incidents would not have been happened in the future. You know that in Kerala recently, over the period of last 4 years, we can see that many incidents, whether it is Pettivudi, whether it is Kavalapara, whether it is Kuttikal, because the victims, they are very poor people, very ordinary people. They are suffering a lot.
Okay, last question, Mr. Abhilash. We're totally out of time, but Abhilash, very quickly, you've heard all of our panelists, and of course, our panelists have their own domain expertise for whatever reason they are here on the panel. Mr. Abhilash, are we at a place that we can ensure that this doesn't happen, this level of damage doesn't happen next time?
Yeah, the only way to go about this is to have a kind of decentralized community level monitoring system should be in place, because you know Kerala is known for decentralized action plans in terms of three-level hierarchy system, LSGD. So the only way to, because if you look at the Wayanad itself, the Hume Center, there is a NGO which is collecting the rainfall from the farmers group, like 200 plus rainfall measuring stations are handled by them. They even collected this rainfall, and if you look at that, the western boundary of the Wayanad districts, most of the landslide prone area in the Wayanad districts is concentrated along the western boundary. So where is this Mepadi is coming? So that means they got a rainfall record of 37 centimeters of rain in 24 hours and 570 centimeters millimeters of rain, 57 centimeters of rain in 48 hours. So that type of rainfall records were there. So they even they are giving this data to agencies and other people. So they are sensitizing. So the only way to go around this is to build local capability and decentralized action plan involving the suffered people, the local people into the process. This is the only way to go about this type of calamities. Because the first respondent and the most affected people should be placed inside this system so that they can have the they can collect the rainfall data and they can organize the relief camps. They will get to know that what is going to happen for the next 2-3 hours. Like a community-based decentralized approach should be in place in Kerala to tackle this type of event in future.
And of course, a lot of transparency that would be required. MG Radhakrishnan, we are totally out of time, but I still would possibly come to you for one last question. A minute to you, Mr. MG Radhakrishnan. Would you want to leave our viewers with an understanding of what Wayanad looks like now? What is the challenge really before Wayanad? Because as I can understand, there are so many people, at least, there's scores of them that are still missing.
No, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but unfortunately, the prospects look absolutely bleak for Wayanad and also for the rest of the state also. But Wayanad seems to be at the frontier in terms of an economy. It's almost like an ecological catastrophe. And unless, the people, the ordinary people of the state rise up and make the authorities to see that these things should be prevented, I think nothing is likely to happen. Because even after year, Kerala is going through this terrible disasters. Hundreds of lives are being lost. Lots of properties are being destroyed forever. But yet, we're not learning any lesson for various reasons. But there is certain, an increasing tendency to sort of, blame it on natural factors like climate change or cloud bursts and other things, and also to put under the carpet the excessive human intervention that is the underlying trigger for most of what is happening. Unfortunately, that's not happening in Kerala, which is to the peril of the state.
We just leave it at that because there's so much to discuss. Time is a constraint. And as I said, it's not about a blame game. It's definitely not about politics over a blame game. The attempt is really to be able to at least bring to the fore the challenges before a district, before a state, and before a country. We, Shri Padmanabhan, P. Santosh, Professor Ronnie K. Baby, and MG Radhakrishnan, thank you very much for joining us. And also thank you to Mr. MB Rajesh, who spent quite a bit of a time with us on this show. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us.